do one up on scene. I'll be assuming Caroline Street Command. I got a 2.5-story wood occupied multiple dwelling. I got heavy fire from the second floor Charlie side. I have an exposure on the Delta side. We have one line stretch not in operation yet. Primary searches are underway. Status of the fire is doubtful. One passing command. I'm on the first line. Service be advised. They're on scene. 2-story wood frame. I got heavy fire from the Alpha side.
Welcome back, fans of the Volley Chief. I have a very interesting new episode here. One of the things I mentioned for the start of 2024 was I wanted to try to expand my reach, and we have done that. This is our first out of my circle, out of my area guest. So they say everything's bigger in Texas. So hopefully this show will be a bigger one. I was lucky enough to have Kevin reach out to me, and I'm going to give him a chance to introduce himself. But this is going to be part of our attempt to. I've decided to make it a little bit of a goal of the show to interview somebody from every state. So going to start with Texas. No particular reason why, but Kevin and I have talked a couple times on the phone. I think it'll be a neat conversation between two guys on opposite sides of the country and how things work and how they're the same and how they're different. So I'm going to give Kevin a chance to introduce himself. So take it away, Kev.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. First of all, thanks for having me on the podcast. Been looking forward to it. My name's Kevin Henricks. I'm the Assistant Fire Chief of West Carlisle Volunteer Fire Department. We're located just on the west side of Lubbock County in Lubbock, Texas.
So for those of us up here, because most of my listeners are obviously still in New England, you're on the far side of Texas, correct?
Correct. Yeah. So we're kind of on the far west side of Texas. We're about 50, 60 miles from the New Mexico border.
So that would be across the entire state of Connecticut, away from
Right.
Yeah. And how long have you been with the fire department? What got you involved in it?
So my uncle, he's the fire chief. My dad, whenever he got off the fire department, he was assistant fire chief. Excuse me. And my cousins, I've got another uncle that's in it. It's kind of been in the family for quite a while. So, about age 16, we started a junior firefighter program here. I kind of kicked that off, and pretty much the rest is history. Worked my way all the way up to assistant chief. So.
And when was that? How long ago?
So that was 2007 is when we started the junior firefighter program. So yeah, about 16
years. Nice. Okay. And you guys cover, again, differences. You have area. I mean, we're around here, Derby's 5 square miles. And you guys are covering a pretty big chunk, correct?
Right. Yeah, we're covering I think it's about 12, 15 square miles what we're covering. So in our county, there's 11 volunteer fire departments, and everybody kind of has their own little area, but we also do quite a bit of mutual aid, with all of them really.
And then you have just one station, or what?
Yeah, so we have one station. We run, I believe it's 9 frontline vehicles, including 2 command rides, an engine, tankers or tenders, brush trucks, ladder trucks. So we got to be able to do it all.
Yeah, because so your district's 12 miles, but the county, you guys respond neighboring districts and stuff like that too. So your first due district is a 12-mile area. That's a pretty good size of first due. Right.
Yeah. It's 12 square miles. So, depending on which way you go, towards the county line out to the west, it's about 4 miles. And then, we'll back to the east, we go about 3 or 4 miles, and kind of about the same north and south.
God, I think if I was in a fire truck going to a call for more than 4 minutes, I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah, we had a run last night. That was about, I don't know. I think from the fire station to where the call was, I think it was about a 20-minute drive. That was 2 territories over from us, but it was a big house fire, long ways away from any type of water source. So.
Okay, so yeah, again, luckily around our area, we have hydrants growing out of the ground. Tankers are foreign to me, which is nice because in most volunteer organizations you rely a lot on tankers, but our area is well hydranted. So you guys are relying on tankers for water?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 0 fire hydrants in our first due because we're in the unincorporated parts of Lubbock County. So yeah, we shuttle all of our water in. We'll use drop tanks, and the engine will draft out of those, and we're very well at it because we do it pretty much every fire. So
yeah, and And again, just differences, Connecticut, nothing's unincorporated. We don't even actually have counties anymore. They got rid of the county government system.
Right.
So, for us, everything's somebody's.
Yeah.
And it's been for a while. Now, how many officers do you have in the department?
So we have two chiefs, the fire chief, myself, the assistant fire chief, and then we have four captains. And all that's voted on by the membership. We do voting every 2 years. So, it's kind of one of those things. If you're good at your job, you get to stay in there for a while. And
If they don't like you, you're out.
yeah, that's right. You're out. So, but no, I mean, we have a great group of guys here. We're extremely young fire department. Most of our guys are under the age of 30. But yeah, I mean, we're pretty lucky around here for a small department. I think we have 19 on the roster right now. So,
Okay, and when you say young, you mean age-wise or the department is young?
well, both age-wise. I mean, like I said, most of the guys are under 30 years old. The department was established in 1983, so we're still a fairly young department.
Yeah, I mean, like our department was the first fire company in Derby was like 1837. So,
okay,
and around here that's common, like mid 1800s for a lot of
right.
the companies. But yeah, that's so. Now, do you guys have? So obviously, state of Texas, I'm sure you have like you still do your firefighter one and your all that, like we do.
Yeah, we have firefighter one, firefighter two. Your hazmat stuff. And then pretty much after you get those certs, then you can kind of branch out to whatever. I started out, going through fire academy. I did that. Got firefighter one, two, all my hazmat stuff out of the way, and then I went to fire inspector, fire investigator, fire instructor. So.
Nice. So do you have requirements for the officers? Do they have to have certain certifications or could?
Well, not necessarily certain certifications. We do require them to have, a certain amount of time on the department before they're able to run for that position.
Okay. Yeah, I believe, like I know we instituted, you got to have obviously a minimum to be a lieutenant. So again, I've noticed when you get down south, out west, the rank of lieutenant kind of vanishes a little bit.
Right.
And you have just captains in a lot of places, but
a lot of the volunteer departments around here, just run captains. But once you get onto the career side, you've got your lieutenants, captains, battalion chiefs, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and what's actually weird is there's like a chunk around like the DC area, they have sergeants too, like
really?
Wow. Yeah, it's but we require, a certain number of years, you gotta have a minimum of fire, two, and you have to have safety officer just to make lieutenant, and then from there, as you move up, and I do, I mean, I think it's important. Now, do you guys have, annual training requirements? Like, how do you guys run the training in the department?
Well, so we, do pretty much all in-house training. There are several guys that go to several different, outside schools a year. We just did one, this last weekend in a little town about 30 minutes south of us. We had 6 or 7 of our guys actually helping teach one of the projects, and we had several guys take classes. So, there's schools all around here. They go to those. We also just finished up the newer guys finished up a class through the state. TEACS is what it is.
Yes, familiar with TEACS.
Yeah. They're run by Texas A&M University system. They just finished up firefighter 1, 2, hazmat awareness and ops. So they finished that up 2 weeks ago, I think, and so now they're all getting ready to take their state test for that. So we'll turn out about another, I think it's 12 more firefighter 1, firefighter 2s.
Good. And now, how are you guys funded? Do you are you guys the fundraising? Are you out there in the community? You receive a
Yeah, a little bit of both. We get a stipend every year from the county. We basically contract through Lubbock County to provide fire and rescue services. And that
no
money,
EMS.
no EMS. We used to have an ambulance here in our station, and that's a story for another day. But we don't have it anymore. But yeah, we're strictly fire. So we do get a stipend through the county, and that's based off of call volume on a 5-year rolling average. We're paid per call on a 5-year, or our average call number on a 5-year rolling average. And then we also do some fundraisers, some stuff around town and stuff with the community. So that helps out a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, those are always, they take up a lot of your time. We're in the process of setting up a 5K race right now for our ambulance
yeah.
corps. And it's like, it's a lot of work. And I think that's one side of things that a lot of people don't realize, but it does take a lot to keep the machine going.
Sure. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun also.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it builds the camaraderie. It keeps there is a place for that. It's just you gotta make sure it doesn't go a little overboard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. One of our biggest fundraisers is we cook funnel cakes at the fair. It makes very good money. If you'd have
So
told me
like
before I did all this,
you guys have like the county fair.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Actually, the fair here that they run here, it's called the South Plains Fair. It's the second most attended fair next to the Texas State Fair. So, I mean, it's pretty good size, and it runs about a week and a half.
Yeah, see again, because we're so small up here, the big fair for us is they call it the Big E, and it's actually all of New England.
Oh wow!
So like, yeah, so we don't even get our own fair, like we
Yeah.
have to share with Rhode Island and Massachusetts and all the rest of
Yeah.
New England because we're so
Yeah.
small.
Right.
But that's awesome though. So now, you said 16 years, you're the assistant chief, you got a bunch of new guys coming in. So what's one thing, like I'm a new officer sitting down with you. Give me a couple pieces of your spiel. Like what would you say to one of your new officers? What do you think your best advice is to somebody just stepping into a leadership role?
Oh man. Let me see here. I think first and foremost, I mean, you have to be a leader, you have to be an officer, but also you gotta, especially in the volunteer world, you gotta treat them as one of your own, one of your friends, brothers, sisters, whatever it may be. So, I mean, especially in the volunteer service, you can't get too crazy, with nitpicking stuff and, just you don't want to be that guy, that nobody likes. But like I said, most of our officers, they I think our youngest officer's 24, 25, something like that. And he's been an officer, I think, for 4 years. And, all of our officers do really well with,
Yes.
handling business. So,
Yeah, see, we were lucky. So our officers are a rotating basis of the captains and the lieutenant. It's a 1 year term, it's voted on. And where we luck out is we have, going back to when I was a kid, we had a lot of phenomenal senior, very seasoned firefighters. And I hate to say it, I mean, at that point you could have put like a banana in the officer seat, and those guys knew everything to do. They knew their jobs, they knew how to run a scene, they knew all that information from experience. So they would put us in the officer positions relatively young. And it was because you always had that group of older guys that, anytime you want to call, you could always, like you learn from them every time. And that's, one of my always sayings about us up here in our little town is that we're a very good fire department because we had that. We had, when I joined in the mid-90s, you had all the guys from the 70s and the 80s that were still there, and they'd, done a lot of work back then. And you went to fires with them, and they were great because they would, they never took the line, they never took the tool, they always gave it to you.
right.
As the junior person, knowing that one day you're going to be the senior person. And I swear that's one of the biggest backbones in not just the volunteer fire service, but the fire service, is that understanding that your job is not just to do the here and now, but your job is to prepare for the future.
Right. Yeah. That's what we tell all of our guys. We're constantly training our replacements.
Right. Yeah.
And let those older firemen teach these younger firemen how to become older firemen.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
I mean, you get those guys, that are straight out of academy or whatever, or get on the fire department, they're big bag, tough firemen, they think they know it all. And then they get out on that first fire and they're like, whoa, hold up.
Usually they have a mustache and t-shirt to match and all that.
Exactly.
And you're like, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what we tell them. We're constantly training our replacements, so that, the next new guy that walks in the door, in 10, 15, 20 years could be the fire chief. I mean,
right. Yeah. Scary sometimes when you look at what's walking in the door.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, but you know, we train everybody pretty much the same way here. Since we do a lot of different type responses, you know, grass fires, MVAs, house fires, you know, all that. And being volunteer, whenever you show up to the station, you never know what truck, you know, you may be driving the engine, you know, so you may be pumping, or you may be on the water shuttle, or you may be on the nozzle. So we have to train everybody to be able to do everything.
Now I'm going to ask you a really stupid question because obviously, you know, being from Connecticut and never having traveled to the state of Texas yet, I have like preconceived notions of Texas.
Okay.
So like to me, when you say like, oh, like we have grass fires, like I picture all, even though Texas is massive, in my mind, it's like desert with a cactus and like the skull of the buffalo or the cattle, you know. So like, what's
Right.
your
Yeah.
terrain? I guess is what I would wonder.
So we're extremely flat here. We're on the Cap Rock. So the running joke is, you know, you can watch your dog run away for 2 days. You know, that's how flat we are. We have no trees, but the wind blows all the time. Like today, you know, we're 30, 40 mile an hour winds with gusts to 50 right now.
So you're like I said, you're stereotypical, like flat,
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
like Texas flat
Yeah.
prairie
Exactly.
land, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, pretty much. But we do have quite a bit of grass, what they call CRP grass. It's kind of clump grass. I've heard it called love grass also. That came back from I don't remember what year it was, but years ago the government paid a bunch of, you know, people that weren't farming, you know, make because cotton's the big thing around here. That's what they grow around here. I guess when they kind of got out of that business, they paid all these farmers to plant CRP just to kind of basically eliminate the dust bowl type stuff. Um, and so I don't think they fund that anymore now. So we do get a lot of grass fires out there, you know, and it's, you know, couple miles of just open grass field with no barriers, nothing out there.
That sounds like a lot of walking.
Well, with our grass fires, we like I said, I mean, it might be, you know, a mile or so from one side of the fire to the other, and so all of our tankers and brush trucks are equipped to pump and roll. So you know, we have cages and catwalks on them where the guys stand and fight fire, you know, while you're driving. So
Okay, yeah, totally. Like Connecticut's rolling, like you know, hills and rivers and streams and trees and in New Englandy. You know, you picture that New
right,
England. So but we don't get, you know, like a giant brush fire for us would be like 100, you know, 100 yards. We at
right.
that point we'd be like, holy crap, look at the size of this thing.
Yeah.
But it's funny because now there's probably two guys out in California listening to this, like that's a big brush fire, you know.
Yeah, oh, that's big. Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
The biggest one I went on, I used to work for the Forest Service, would do wildland fires primarily. The biggest one I went on was a little over 12,000 acres. So,
Yeah, we don't have that around here.
yeah. Luckily, we don't, I mean, you know, in Lubbock County, we're so densely populated now. A lot of that kind of stuff is going away, and we're turning into more of a, I mean, I guess you can still call it a rural fire department, but you know, it's kind of a mix, really. We do have some patches of, you know, pretty decent sized fields, but we're starting to get more and more houses. You know, people are moving out of the city, you know, wanting to live in the country and that kind of stuff. So
Those out of towners, that'll be the downfall of everything.
yeah, and they're building huge houses, you know, a long ways away from everything. So
Yeah, it's amazing how fast the landscape could change. And you know, the cities cycle around where there'll be development, it'll stay, it'll get run down, they'll knock it down, rebuild it, and you're back into the cycle of just, you know, rebuilding and building.
yeah.
But now do you guys how often do you guys meet? How often do you guys train? Like what's your schedule like?
So we have business meetings once a month. That's the first Monday of every month. That's kind of where we sit down and talk and take care of whatever business needs to be taken care of. Vote on things, you know, if we're buying something or, you know, whatever it may be. Anybody can bring anything up to the attention of the department. And then every Monday after that in the month is a training. So we meet at
it's
6:30 and train until, you know, 9, 10 o'clock in the evening. So we do quite a bit of training here.
I love it because it's the same, right? Like, so we, as far apart as we are, we're Thursdays, our neighboring town Ansonia is Mondays, And the same thing, first Thursday of the month is the business meeting, and then, the rest of the Thursdays are training evolutions.
Right,
And,
yeah.
as for us, depending on the season, I would say the warmer weather usually will throw like a weekend, like a Saturday or Sunday morning. And then even in the colder weather, we have to do some ice rescue training, stuff like that. Those will be like weekend
Right,
drills.
yeah. Well, I'm glad y'all can keep the ice. Y'all can keep that ice because we don't want it down here. Of course, we don't. We're so dry out here. I mean, we get a big rain or something, and the low lying areas will fill up, but that's usually dried up in 2 weeks or so after the rain.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, it's amazing how different it is, but also again, how similar it is. And
Right.
yeah, like I can remember the first time I went overseas and went to Europe and saw like a European fire truck, and you're like, look at this abomination. And then like we opened the first compartment and there was just a set of hearse tools in there. And it was like funny because it's like, here you are, you're thousands of miles away from home, and it's like, oh, it's the same exact thing we use,
Exactly.
And so it is, yeah, it is. That's one of the neat things. And so now, you said that you had, I forgot what you called it, but it was another, what did you call the Chiefs vehicles?
We just call them command rides.
Command rides. I've never heard that one. Now up here,
Yeah.
like you get down to like the Mid-Atlantic region, they call them like buggies, the buggy or the
Okay.
Chiefs buggy.
Yeah.
Up it's usually just the Chiefs car, but command rides. I kind of like that one. It's
I mean, even on the side of mine, it says command 2. So
okay, command buggies, yeah.
we got command 1 and command 2 on the Chiefs ride or the command vehicle or something like that. So.
And about how many runs do you guys handle a year?
Right now we're averaging just shy of 200, about 170 to 180 a year.
Okay, and then I'm assuming that's going to start going up with all the construction and all the.
Yeah, we've slowly seen a increase. Within the last 5-10 years. Used to, whenever I first got on, it was like, man, we run like 70 or 80 calls a year. It's like, holy cow, that was busy. Now we're doubling that.
Doubling that.
Yeah, we're averaging about a run. Well, I guess you could say our average throughout the year is about a run every third day or so. But, I mean, sometimes we'll get 6 of them in one day.
Right. One storm comes through and then, yeah.
Yeah, and then go on, a week dry spell or something. And then, 4th of July hits, and that's usually good for, 2 years ago, it was good for 19 calls that night. So
everything's dry.
Yeah, everything.
Nice.
It's always dry.
And you said you run a lot of mutual aid. So like, are you guys automatically dispatched to neighboring counties when something happens, or neighboring districts, or?
Yeah, so our neighboring districts to the north and south of us, you got Shallowater and Wolforth. They're both, I think, right at 7 miles north or south of us. We do automatic mutual aid with them. We have some stuff set up, such as like structure fires. That's an automatic 2-department response. Any outdoor fires with the wind speed greater than 20 miles an hour is an automatic 2-department response. So like today, with our 40-mile-an-hour wind, you're getting 2 departments, and they actually got a big house fire working out south of town right now. So we've been kind of monitoring that because we run a regional rehab that we can take and provide guys with drinking water and snacks and just kind of get them cooled off and settled down. And
yeah, because I imagine for you guys, we deal with it for the extreme summer and the extreme winter, and then spring and fall, you kind of, tolerate it. Where you guys, you don't have that. It's pretty much extreme.
Yeah. We go from one extreme to the other pretty much all the time.
Not bad.
They say if you don't like the weather in West Texas, just wait about 10 minutes. It'll change.
Yeah, I hate, there's another similarity. It's the same thing up here in New England. They say if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes, it'll change. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, well, I mean, it's just amazing how we have the similarities and we have the differences. And at the end of the day, it's the same job, right? We're just, a bunch of guys and gals that are just trying to help their neighbors and do the right thing and keep the community safe.
Sure.
I know, judging by how we met, I know your family is behind you.
Oh yeah,
100%. Yeah, it's actually funny because my wife, her father volunteered in the neighboring town, and her parents and my parents were friends. So I actually met my wife in EMT class. So
okay.
it was one of those, one of those stories. But So and that's a big part of it, is that the family commitment, that because not just you are committed, but your family's also committed, because
Oh
it's
yeah, sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we tell all our new guys trying to get on. It's like you got to make sure your family's behind you on this, because there's I mean, unfortunately, there's going to be stuff you have to miss. As soon as you sit down for dinner, that's typically when that pager's going to
Right.
go off.
Yeah. So what else? Anything you want to add?
And I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Um,
I mean, I enjoyed this. I hope you did too.
oh yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun, and keep me updated if anything big happens. You get any good jobs or anything, shoot me a text or an email. I'll throw them up on the page. But
Sounds good.
yeah, I thank you for being my first non-Connecticut guest, if you will. And I got a couple more coming. Again, I got some. My goal is to try to work on getting somebody from every state. So Texas is now officially taken.
Checked off the list. There you go.
Yeah. So Kevin, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
Everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe to the page, subscribe to the YouTube channel, make the machine work so that people pick up on us. And as I mentioned earlier, don't forget July 10th, the Storm Ambulance is hosting the Ambulance Driver 5K at the Bad Sons Brewery. So for some reason, Kevin, if you're in Connecticut on July 10th,
Okay.
feel free to come run a 5K with us.
I will keep that in mind.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Chief.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
FD1's back in service. Commands terminated.